of decision. The story of Hiroshima. The story of Nagasaki. A story of special meaning to the people of New York. The story as told by the first American to see the first atomic bomb burst above an enemy target. Told by a Life magazine photographer who shot the first pictures of what was once Hiroshima. Told by a Dutch medical officer who was in command of a prison camp in the heart of Nagasaki. The story has been written by Tex McCrary. He is the narrator. And listening with you, asking questions for you, is Jinx Falkenburg.
You know, Tex, when you told me the other day about the article John Hersey wrote in the New Yorker, and when I heard that every copy was sold off the newsstand the day after publication, I couldn't understand it. Why all this sudden interest here in New York in something that happened a year ago? Hiroshima's an old story now.
In one sense, yes, Jinx, that's true. Just as you might say that Buchenwald and the other concentration camps where 5 million Jews died in Europe are old stories. But when you realize that anti-Semitism, another and ugly kind of chain reaction, a brutal splitting of human atoms, when you realize that anti-Semitism is not yet conquered or in chains, then you know that Buchenwald is not an old story. And when you realize that atomic power is not yet conquered or in chains, you know that Hiroshima is not an old story either. It was never newer than now. Jinx, you and I and all the people of New York are living in a city of decision. Scientists and statesmen and politicians are working, some with desperate eagerness and some half-heartedly, to chain atomic power from evil uses, to harness it for good. Good or evil, that decision will be made in the machinery of the United Nations before spring comes again to the world. We are living in a city of decision, a city haunted by the sound of death. And that's why, Jinx, the story of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the story of once top-secret Manhattan project, is still as newsworthy as destiny itself. So many people have tried to tell the story of Hiroshima or Hiroshima. You can't even get people to agree on how to pronounce it, much less on the deeper meaning of a name that was once only a name on a map until it became one of the grimmest headlines in history.
Tex, you remember the boy who was on our program a few weeks ago, the tail gunner of the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima? Well, he told the story pretty well, didn't he?
Yes, Jinx, he did. Bob Karen, Sergeant Bob Karen. He told the story even better than he realized. He was a good reporter. He saw things clearly, and he described them simply. His story began on a rocky scab of Sweating Island in the Pacific where a special group of B-29s was based. I don't think he knew just how big a story he was telling. There's been nothing like it, really, since the crucifixion, when mankind was first put on trial. At Hiroshima, a new trial began. Do you remember the things that Bob Karen told us, Jinx?